Hello everyone, my name is Erika Lust and I'm an erotic film director. I do what I call indie adult cinema.
How do you feel about the word porn? Especially because your work is the complete opposite, in my opinion, of what people think about when they think of traditional porn.
It's kind of mixed feelings with the word porn, honestly. On one side, it's kind of I want to use the word and I want to change it. You know, I have this feeling that we need to change porn. We need to start making better porn. We need to accept porn. And on the other hand, it's it's difficult sometimes when you talk to people because they have so many ideas of what it is, and most people today, they think obviously about the online platforms that are out there with the kind of the free porn, but that's the idea that people have, and we all know that most of that porn is not the best one. It's not really accepting everyone in a wonderful way. It's not really showing great sexuality, but it's kind of aggressive towards women, misogynistic, sometimes even racist, and it has a lot of kind of bad values in it, really. So for me, it's this kind of mixed feeling. Should I just kind of go right up to people and start talking about porn and make wonderful porn, or should I kind of, as you said, kind of avoid the word and go around it and say adult entertainment or erotic filmmaking or something that makes them feel more comfortable?
I want to walk you through a scenario. So I finally have an hour to myself in the day. Let's even call it 15 minutes. So I decide to myself, I have 15 free minutes and I am horny. So I fire up my computer and then I go to a porn site and I scroll and I pick something and then I take my pants down and I'm getting into the mood and then I see something that makes me go, ugh. That's such a turn off. And then I close my laptop and I put my pants back on and I feel more frustrated than I did when I initially began this foray. And what I'm describing to you is a scene that I think a lot of women experience when they go to use porn as a medium to get themselves off. Does that seem familiar to you? And in many ways, is that what drove you to the work that you do now?
Oh, yes, that seems very familiar to me. It has a lot to do in my first experiences of watching porn. I had very mixed feelings from the beginning. I always felt that my body did react to sexually explicit images. I liked watching them. I felt horny by watching them. But at the same time, I had my mind going nuts somehow, telling me that I didn't like what I was watching. And instead of just having those great 15 minutes and then I was off to something else, I started thinking, and that actually kind of went me to have conversation with friends of mine, and little by little I found out that I was definitely not alone, that this is a scenario happening to so many women. There are obviously women that are good with and fine with the online traditional kind of porn and are feel happy with it, but many women, they don't feel happy with it. And what I'm also seeing is that more and more men are starting to react to the online porn and to the misogyny that is going on out there. I think that maybe they didn't before realize what was happening, but today we kind of live in a new society where we are starting to seeing these things, and where they are starting to actually read the taglines, and when they see tiny teen getting destroyed, they feel that something is definitely off with that kind of porn.
I also acknowledge the messages as an early educator that I used to say. So I'll tell you something that I used to say a lot. I used to say that women are not activated by visual. Like, women are not turned on by the visual. And proof of that is the fact that porn is a multi-billion-dollar industry for men and it's negligible for women. And so that's the old belief system that a lot of science today has completely debunked, that women aren't turned on by what they see. They're turned on by what they feel and what they experience. They need an emotional connection in order to make a sexual attachment to somebody. Again, like we said, an incredible book that I love is What Women Want by Daniel Berger, I believe. And that debunks all of that. He has study after study that show that women are just as turned on, if not in many cases more turned on, by what they see visually. But because we've been socialized to believe that we can't act on those feelings, we deny them. But our bodies tell a different story. So that to be said, I think a lot of women, without really exploring it, think that porn doesn't turn them on. If you encountered that kind of woman, what would you say to them?
Well, I kind of would say what you have said right now, that I also, grow up in a society where people were telling me all the time that porn was just not for women. It was just not for us. It was something made for men by men, and it was their kind of secret world to sexuality, and they could celebrate whatever perversions they had in that little bubble and in that little world.
That's a perfect way of putting it.
I've made my first short film in 2004, so it's quite many years now, and I have seen the shift. I have really seen how when you get more women into this space as creators, as script writers, as DOPs, as filmmakers, as photographers, etc., that we are challenging that vision, we are changing that vision, and we are creating a new kind of set of images that will help more women growing up, being able to create their own erotic being, because they have other kinds of references.
I think the big thing that I come against is that a lot of women say to me, like, I'm not into porn, I don't watch porn, and then I make one suggestion to them, and they go to that one site, and they don't like what they see, and they come back, and they say, see, I don't like porn. Which I'm like, you know what? That's kind of like you saying to me, you know what, I hate sushi, and then you go to my favorite spot, and you don't like it, and say, I hate all sushi. That is not to say that, the place that I go to get off may not be yours, which is why options are optimal. And the fact that now we live in a time where there's more opportunities for ethical porn, I think people have to go to 3 or 4 sites to really get a feel for which one feels good for them. And then again, like I said, you might find that one film that's your go-to for a month or so that you just keep watching because that gets you off every time or gets you turned on every time. The reason why you're the perfect person for this podcast is the podcast title fits you to a T.
Yes.
You don't like porn, you don't engage in porn. And if somebody asked you, what's your relationship to porn, you would say?
Non-existent.
Never, ever?
Okay, first of all, I don't even know where to get it, right? That's the thing. So the one thing I learned was, because everyone was talking about like Pornhub. So I was kind of, okay, well, that's free. Because I don't want to go through a process to get porn. So I was like, oh, let me go check out Pornhub one day. And it was just like pages and pages of fetishes. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, you know what? It's cool. I'll probably put one on and get uninterested. And then that was like, oh, that experiment's over. And I'll never go back to it.
Does it kill the whole vibe for you? Or do you just say, I'll do imagination?
Like more so reading erotic novels. And maybe because it just feels more private, that works for me versus watching something.
Which I think actually is important to note, because erotic content is really what the goal is versus porn.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's about finding
I like that word. It just sounds like porn. It's hard.
Yeah.
Do you like porn?
But do you like corn?
I don't even like corn, really. No. Neither are my things.
I am also guilty of going to the tube sites a lot, because it is that get in, get out thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And oftentimes I'll go and I'm just really not turned on by what I see. And if anything, it like puts me out of the mood.
Yeah.
So I find that it doesn't enhance my experience. And so I don't really go to it. But that to be said, years ago, I went to an Erika Lust event, and I had to because I was hosting something for her. I was exposed to a lot of her content, and I really enjoyed it.
I would, and even like the language, like when you guys were talking about the word or reclaiming the word porn, like I actually like the word lust. Like I thought that was a nice word. And when I associate to what would turn me on, it's not the word porn, it's the word lust. Like, but
Lusty Lauren?
Lusty Lauren. But maybe it's just like that Dirk Diggler 90s image I have of like pornography that is just not it for me.
Yeah.
But lust I can get on board with.
So here is the drum roll moment. You do not watch porn. You don't consume adult cinema. So I'm trying to use a better term. You don't traditionally consume erotic cinema, but you've been exposed to a different slant on it.
Yes.
Are you leaning in that direction now?
Oh, absolutely. Like I appreciate that more. Like that to me makes it easy. Like we were talking before about going out. Like at my age, I don't want to go out unless it's a guaranteed good time. I'm not up for the adventure. I'm not up for the experience. I need a guaranteed good time. And now that I've experienced, Erica's angle on pornography or erotic adult cinema, whatever 7 words we're putting to it to make it sound better. That to me is like, I guarantee that I know what I'm going to get here and it's something that will work for me. It's something that makes me comfortable.
I'm going to actually play another one of her videos for you that I watched. I liked it a lot.
Why would you play a porn video for me? Like, it just sounds weird.
Well,
You can recommend it and I'll do it in my own time.
Okay, I'm not going to
Sit here.
I'm going to recommend to you one that I saw from her, which was actually cool about the experience of doing the Lust Cinema screening in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Because she showed a wide variety of content. And then people could
Which one did it for you?
Yeah, which one did it for you? And I love the fact that we're getting to a place now where we're acknowledging that there isn't a one size fits all. I think that previously it was like either you get turned on by this or you don't.
Right.
Either you do or you don't like porn. And I always say this when people say they don't like condoms. My next question is, well, what kind? And then you find out they've only tried one brand or they've only had their partner supply. They've never actually invested their own time in looking at like the massive amount of options there are out there.
Right.
I give that example too when it says people, I don't like sushi.
I
There's
listened to the episode. Are you going to put this
This is for people who haven't heard me speak before. This is the first episode they're listening to.
Yeah, but you put that part in the episode.
Oh. Okay. Well, I only have 5.
As previously mentioned 3
talking
minutes
points.
ago.
This is where you realize I don't have much to say.
So here's a metaphor you just heard 5 minutes ago.
Lovers and friends. I'ma take you on a trip, baby. I don't pretend. I said, lovers and friends. I'ma hold you down to the end. I said.